Ketov.
Okay, tough.
Okay, we are on. Jaime, we just said that today's learning is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Haber's daughter, Rachel Bat Shalamid. And Mr. Haber just said that, Jaime, that's Rachel.
Oh, I know Rachel, my dear, dear friend.
Haber says thank you for that. We are on, Hanasham is having an aliyah all the time. So we're on Gimel and Aleph. We are on 3A4. 3A4. The last thing we said yesterday was when people came to court and they said that there was a loan that was given with a stipulation. The witnesses say it was a 30-day, had to be repaid in 30 days. The borrower stated that he had a 10-year, the stipulation was 10 years. And as we said, the problem is we're not dealing with documents. Everything is oral, and therefore we have more issues. No written document to work with. And they were found to be Zomimim. The pair of witnesses that testified that it was a document that they said that the loan was a 30-day loan. And they said that we were there on that day when the loan happened in front of us and the terms of agreement among the parties were 30 days. We have a second pair of witnesses come and say, you guys could not have been witness to the terms of this loan on that date because you were some other part of the world with us on that day. It was impossible for you to be here. So now the Mishnah stated that there's a certain penalty that we assess of the loss that they were attempting to cause to the borrower by wanting to obligate the borrower to pay this debt in 30 days instead of having the 10-year time period. That's what we spoke about yesterday. Today, we're going to see what the Gemara is going to do with this case, and then the Gemara is going to, well, let's look what the Gemara is going to say. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. The second line from the bottom in the Gemara. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Amar Shmuel. Hamal ve'es chaveiro le'eseh shanim. Somebody gives his friend a loan, a 10-year loan. Shviyis mishamatav taso. Shviyis shmita releases the loan. There's a law that says that not only during the Shemitah year, you're not allowed to work the land, you have to release the land from work, hands off from working the land. There's another law that states that during the Shemitah year, that at the end of the Shemitah year, according to the most opinions, the last second of the 7th year of Shemitah, all outstanding loans are released. If someone owes somebody money, someone had borrowed $1,000 from somebody.
But it doesn't make sense.
What'd you say?
It doesn't make sense, though.
Why doesn't it make sense?
10-year loan, you know?
But okay.
Time in 10 years.
You're saying why would he give it 10 years? It's all automatically going to be off. That's what you're saying, Yosef?
Yeah,
what do you
no matter what.
Yes. So very good. Excellent point. So the halacha is going to state that the Shemitah, the 7th year, will remove an outstanding loan if the loan is already past due, right? That means the loan was due before the Shemitah year. You owed the money. You were supposed to pay the money, and you didn't pay the money. The Torah says in that situation, the Shemitah will take off that outstanding debt. But if you make a loan for 10 years and the debt is going to be due after Shemitah, so Shemitah will not take off the loan. That's going to be the halacha, because the Shemitah will only take off a loan that was already due before the Shemitah has entered. But if the loan is only due after the Shemitah will not release the loan. That's going to be the halacha.
Even that, it doesn't make sense, because people that have the loan about to finish before the Shemitah, they say, why do I have to pay it? Because I know next year or in a few months, I don't have to pay it anymore.
Okay, so let's understand that. Good. So we're going to talk about this. The Torah says about this issue a little bit. The Torah talks about this issue that Torah is very concerned that a person shouldn't say that Shemitah is coming, and because let's say we're in the 6th year, so Shemitah is another year. Shemitah is another year. A person might say, "Good morning, Mars." A person might say, I'm not gonna lend the person money because what am I afraid? I'm afraid that the loan will be due. Let's say according to the halacha, the loan will be due a few months before Shemitah, and I'm afraid he's not going to pay. If he doesn't pay me, then comes the Shemitah, and the loan is off. So the Torah says, don't act that way. Torah says, no, lend the money in Moreh Akiva, and Hashem will give you a blessing. Meaning, if the guy doesn't pay you, the guy takes the loan, he's supposed to pay you, right? That's what you made the loan for, right? A person also has responsibility. As a Jew, you have responsibility to pay your loan. It's called, I think that it says that's lova rasha v'lo mishalem. Person who doesn't pay his loan when he has responsibilities, it's called, we have a pasuk that refers to him as a rasha. He's not a good person. You have a responsibility to pay your loan. Of course, if the guy doesn't have the ability to pay his loan, so then we're not going to call him a rasha. But a person who has the ability to pay a loan, and anyone who takes a loan, and you say you're taking a loan, you have to know you're taking a loan with the ability to pay back the loan. You shouldn't say I'm taking a loan. You should say I might not be able to be upfront with the person. I would like to pay you back. Start when you take at the time of the loan, you say to him, if you're not confident you can pay the loan, then you shouldn't take it as a loan. You should be up with the front with the guy. I want to take it as a loan, but I might have difficulty paying it back. But we have responsibility. The same way it's that we have to know there's a mitzvah to lend money. It's an obligation, as Mr. Hebert said yesterday. It's also an obligation to pay your loans. It's a mitzvah to pay your loans too. It's not a one-way street. Both people have responsibility here to pay your loans. But so now you're dealing with another Jew. You should have the confidence that he's going to pay, and you're lending him the money, that he's going to pay you back the money. And don't stop lending people money close to the Shemitah because you're going to say, I'm afraid that he's not going to pay back, and then I'm going to lose the loan. Because then what's going to happen to all the people who need the loans? The Torah wants the general people who need loans are people who are not doing so well financially. Of course, there are wealthy people that need loans too, for business purposes, other things. But I would say most probably a lot of the reason behind it is because we want the poor people to be able to have the loans. And the Torah is very concerned that if you're going to have that mentality, you're going to say, you know what, Shemitah is coming. I'm not going to lend the guy money. What? So we're going to get to that, and the Gemara is going to discuss that. But if you're going to say, the Gemara is going to discuss, depends how you word it. If a person, to say that Shemitah doesn't take off a loan, you can't say Shemitah does take off a loan. But if you want to say that we agree together that we're forgiving that the mitzvah of Shemitah, when I'm going to let go of that thing, that means that the Shemitah would have taken off, but we're agreeing that the Shemitah should not take it off. Like that we as individuals to each other, that the Gemara is going to say, one opinion is going to say that works. You could do that. Depends how you formulate the question.
Take away this commanded from the Torah that every year comes. This is what happens.
Right. That's exactly what the Gemara is going to talk about. The Gemara is, can I make such a stipulation or not? So one idea, the idea behind it would be is we both acknowledge that Shemitah would take off the loan, but I am forgoing my rights here. It's like I'm giving you a gift, meaning really the Shemitah should take off the loan, but it's like the Gemara is going to say, let's say there's a sin to overcharge, right? If let's say there's a certain price on something, a standard price that everybody, let's say that there's an accepted price. Let's say the government gives a price. This is the price on, let's say, if there be such a concept, let's say gold is a certain price. And then you go ahead and you want to charge $2,000 an ounce. And I want to, and everybody knows that's the standard price for gold, let's say. And I want to charge you more than the market rate. right? So there are laws in the Torah about overcharging for something. There's something called, good morning, overcharging. But if I want to go ahead and forgive that, and I want to make up with you that even if you're overcharging me, I'm accepting that whatever the price is, even if it's an exorbitant price, I accept it. So then I'm forgiving that, my personal right. That you have a right to do. So just as most probably a woman could say to the husband, you're supposed to provide me with food. You don't have to provide me with food. So he has an obligation, but she can forgive that responsibility. So that's what we're going to see in the Gemara. So, but what happened was that the people did not live up to their responsibilities of giving loans when it came close to Shemitah. And what happened was people were refraining from giving loans. And the rabbis were very concerned for both the poor and the wealthy. They were concerned for the poor people because the poor people were really losing out. Because when it was coming close to Shemitah, they're not getting any loans. They need money to buy any type of everyday life and maybe even do business. The poor people need that loan. And the rich people were violating the Torah. The people that were in a better position, they were not following the Torah. The Torah says you got to go ahead and give the loan when it's close to Shemitah. Don't hold back from giving a loan. So they instituted something called prusbo. And you're going to see this year, at the end of the year, at the end of Shemitah, there's something called prusbo. Prusbo is that you go in front of three people. So it's similar like you're going in front of a court and you're saying to them that you're saying in front of them that you should have the ability to collect your loans. And how that works is similar to if you would go to the court, if you would go to a real court and you would give your documents to the court. Let's say somebody owes you money, an outstanding loan, and you bring the documents to the court before the Shemitah. So since you brought the documents to the court before Shemitah, so some understand that once the court has those documents, those loan documents, it's as if it's collected already. It's not considered, it's looked at as if it's collected, and therefore this Shemitah will not take off a loan, that type of loan. Shemitah would take off a loan that wasn't collected at the time, by the time Shemitah came. But if the loan was, so to speak, we look at it as if it was collected. Why is it as if it was collected? Because the power of the court, once the court has the documents, it's like a done deal, so to speak. When I have the documents, it's not a done deal, but the courts verify the documents, they have the documents, so it's just like it's like a matter of time. It's just like they just have to go through the process, the due process, but it's like it's done, and therefore there will not be the laws of removal of outstanding loans wouldn't apply if the documents were given to the court. So even today, we don't actually give the documents, the IOUs, and those documents to the court, but we do something similar to it. We go in front of a court. We go in front of a minimum court is a minimum of 3 judges to deal with financial matters. You need at least 3 judges, and we go in front of 3 people, and we say, I'm giving you the rights to, I'm saying to you that any outstanding debt that's owed to me, you should empower me to have the ability to collect it. So now that works on a rabbinic level, because I didn't actually give the court my documents, but the rabbis have the power to make one explanation of the Gemara is to make hefker somebody else's money, and the rabbis were given hefker bezdin hefker, the power to money that belongs to Ruvain to give it to Shimon. They have that power, and they use that power in this situation in order to help the poor and the wealthy. And therefore, they said that even though technically the loan should be off on a Torah level because Shemitah should take off the loan, they are instituting that the Shemitah will not take off the loan. Or they're instituting that even if the Shemitah took off the loan, they're giving the money to the borrower. It works even now, and I presume that court, Hillel, it was Hillel Hazaken, that court of 2,000 years ago was so instituted that, and that applies for all the future generations. So he made this enactment because of the problem that he saw was happening in the community. Just like you have, different time periods in history, the Sfardim made an enactment with the certain things, certain situations. People make certain enactments to deal with situations that the community was faced with, and therefore they made the Hillel made this enactment to help prevent the people from violating their prohibition of, and as a result of that, now the lenders will be able to get their money back. The Shemitah will not take off the loan, and therefore there would be a continuous flow of lending money to the people, and therefore they will not be violating their end of the deal, and the borrower the loan would not be off of him. And if you will ask the borrower, he'll be happy about it also. In a certain sense, maybe like he's mochel. He's happy to give back. In a certain sense, it's interesting. It's like this. Maybe it's like a mechila on behalf of the borrowers. Because if you take all the borrowers together, they would collectively say that it's worth it for us, in a certain sense, that we should have the ability to have a loan, and the loan doesn't go off, than not have a loan at all. Meaning, if you go to call up the borrower and the borrower would say, I'm happy that I'm getting a loan, well, I have two choices. Either not to get a loan at all, people are not lending me money, or they'll lend me the money and I'll have to pay it back. The Shemitah won't take it off. So what do you think the borrowers are going to say?
What was the first intention of the Torah?
It would seem that the first intention of Torah is another form of tzedakah, charity. That means, meaning what happened? What's the case? The case is you lent the guy money. He was supposed to pay you back before Shemitah. The loan was due before the Shemitah. So what happened? He didn't pay me back. Most likely we're dealing with honest people. The Torah generally deals with people that we think of people generally that they act in a normal way that they're supposed to act, right? And the general people are supposed to be people who are honest and pay back their loans. If a person did not pay back his loan,
Because anyway, you're the candidate, so you're supposed to do something like something. Get it, and I should be the money regardless. So don't ask it.
Right. Now, a lot of times it's a respectful way. A poor person sometimes people are very embarrassed to take a gift, to take charity. So therefore, it's much more honorable to take a loan. But if they're not able to pay back the loan, so now by Torah giving a release, like starting fresh, you're giving that guy, and in the business world, there's something called bankruptcy, right? Or certain things, that now he's able to start again, or whatever it is, right? I'm not so familiar with all these laws, but so it's in a certain sense, you're giving the borrower a new fresh start to start even. And the lender will be blessed. The Torah promises blessing to the lender. When you let the loan goes, and you're putting the borrower in a position now he's forgiven. So now you're going to be blessed. It's another form of charity. Write it off as charity.
But back in the days, when we asked money for, they asked for a loan for service. Those are like this.
I would think in the old days, I can't tell you what the people today are asking for loans, that everyone needs to, but in the old days, people were asking for loans just to basic food on the table, basic merchandise in order to be able to even do any business. And, the great Rambam says the greatest form of charity is putting a person into business, giving the ability to go ahead and support himself, support his family. So if a poor person, in order for him to go ahead and do some business, you need to have merchandise. And so If you don't have the loan, you won't be able to get the merchandise. You won't be able to support yourself. So that's a little bit about the background. Again, and also another mitzvah of the Torah of what Hashem expects of us, helping another Jew. So Amar Rav Yehuda, similar to the laws of don't charging interest. We have like these type of laws: don't charge interest to a fellow Jew, give tzedakah, give loans, forgive the loan is forgiven after Shemitah. All these type of laws. But Amar Yehuda Rav Shmuel, he has a different opinion. His opinion is that even if you make a stipulation that the loan is due after Shemitah, Shemitah still takes off the loan. And it would seem that the people who made that stipulation of a 10-year loan, what were they thinking? Either they did not know, they didn't realize, they made a stipulation that the loan is due after 10 years. But they didn't know the halacha, so they didn't know the law that Shemitah takes off the loan. So you took a loan, it was due after 10 years, but according to this opinion, which is not the halacha, even in such a case, once the Shemitah comes, Shemitah has the power to cancel a loan, even if the loan wasn't yet due yet. Even though the loan was due at a later date, if post Shemitah. But the fact that Shemitah came, there's money, I owe somebody money. It's true. It's not due until after Shemitah. But at the time that Shemitah came, there is an outstanding debt. I owe somebody money. So according to this opinion, the Torah says Shemitah releases that loan as well.
But you said that's not the halacha. That's just Yehuda's opinion.
Exactly. It's not the halacha. Exactly.
But let me ask you a question. On what authority does the other opinion have to cancel Shemitah? Shemitah is deoraita. It's clear, black and white.
Right.
You're saying that the Rabbanim overrode a deoraita by saying the loan can be due past Shemitah?
So you are asking the Gemara's questions, Jaime, in the Gemara in Gittin. The Gemara asks exactly that question. How could the rabbis, if the Torah says that Shemitah takes off a loan, how could the rabbis institute this thing called pruzbal, which you'll see, I presume in the Sephardi community also, we in the Ashkenaz community, Erev Rosh Hashanah, it's going to be Erev Rosh Hashanah this coming year, because we're in the Shemitah year now. This is the Shemitah year in Israel. But the loans are only removed, according to most opinions, how we follow, the last moment of the Shemitah year removes the loan. So Erev Rosh Hashanah, we're going to go, but Ashkenazim, we sit down after davening, after the prayers, we sit down, what I recall, people who lend people money and they want to collect the money back after the Shemitah, they go in front of three people and they sign this document and they do this thing of giving that they should have the ability to collect. They make a statement, a declaration in front of the three judges, and then they have the ability to collect the loans. So the question is, how could we make this enactment when the Torah says the loan is released? So one of the answers that the Gemara gives to address that point is that the Torah gave the rabbis, the Chachamim, the ability to take money from A and give it to B. The rabbis generally just don't do that. They don't take money from somebody, from Ruvain, and just give it to Shimon. Ruvain's money is Ruvain's money. Shimon's money is Shimon's money. But under certain circumstances, the rabbis have the ability to make hefker. It's called like hefker, bezdin hefker. They have the ability to go ahead and take someone else's money and give it to somebody else. And being that's the case, they use that card in this situation. So good morning, Yaron. So they use the card in this situation. So they have on a Torah level, they could take the money that belongs to Reuven and give it to Shimon. So in this case, Jaime, on a Torah level, the rabbis could say that even though the money should be released and this money should not come back to the lender, but we, the rabbis, make hefker, the money that should really belong to the borrower, but the loan should be released, and we give it back, we give it to the lender. So
Even though it's explicitly overriding a deoraita black and white.
Right, and again, but it's the rabbis are not saying that, we're going against the Torah. We recognize that the Shemitah would take off the loan and should take off the loan, and will take off the loan in a certain sense. But we have our power to take money from someone to give it to somebody else. Hefker means I make it ownerless. I take it away. So we, the rabbis, have that power. So it's true. The Shemitah should take off that loan, but we have our own individual power to take the money from Reuven and give it to Shimon. So that's what we're going to do over here, therefore, and that's valid. The rabbis have that power. So,
and the rabbis are under what authority?
Say that again.
The rabbis have that power under what authority? What's the source of that empowerment?
Right. So, I would presume this based on Psukim. I'm going to take out the Gemara and get in 1 second. Let's get the Gemara. The Gemara says the following in Gittin. This Gemara is a fascinating Gemara on Lamed Vav 36a in Tractate Gittin. It says like this. We learned over there in the Mishnah that Pruzbul does not, if a person writes this document and they go over to the three people, like a court, that prevents Shemitah from releasing the loan. And the Gemara says this is one of the things that Hillel HaZaken, the elder Hillel, instituted. He saw the people were refraining from lending each other, and the people were violating what it says in the Torah. Watch yourself and don't act this way. Torah says lend the money even though it's coming close to Shemitah. The Torah God was aware that people might be hesitant. Therefore, the Torah spelled out clearly in Sefer Dvarim. Don't say Shemitah is coming and you're going to have a bad eye to your brother who's poor. Yeah, the Torah emphasizes. You're going to be not looking at your brother who's poor in a proper way. And you're not going to give to him. And he's going to cry out to God. And you're going to have sin because you're not giving him. So the Torah says, give him and you'll be blessed. But people were not following. So what did Hillel do? The skin who pruzbal. He instituted this thing called pruzbal. When you give over you go to the court, and you make a declaration to the court. As a result of that, you have the ability to collect the loan. So the Gemara asked the question, is there such a thing that the Torah, Jaimi's question, the Torah says that the loan is released and the rabbis just instituted the loan not released? Is there such a concept? The Torah says it's released, it's released. So the Gemara offers different answers to the question. One answer the Gemara offers, Abaye says, we're talking Bisman Hazet. We're talking in our time period where Shemitah, there's a question if Shemitah today is biblical or rabbinic. So Abaye takes the position that the Shemitah today, when we don't have the Beit HaMikdash, and Yovel, or even the time Rashi points out, even when you had the Beit HaMikdash, if Yovel did not, if most of the Jewish community is not in Israel at the time of the Mikdash, Yovel did not apply. If the Jubilee year didn't apply, Shemitah did not apply. And therefore, since Shemitah doesn't apply, so the whole idea that a loan is released would be rabbinic, and Minat Torah, the loan is not released in our days. The rabbis instituted that the loan is released, and Hillel saw that the people were refraining from lending that money. So therefore, he could go ahead and institute his enactment. So therefore, according to this answer of the Gemara, on a Torah level, the loans are not released today. Only on a rabbinic level it was released, and therefore the rabbis can undo their enactment in a certain sense by making that the second enactment. That's one answer of the Gemara. Is that clear, Jaime? One answer of the Gemara is that it's talking specifically in our time period, and in the time of the first Beit HaMikdash, it wouldn't fly. You would not be able to create this prosbal. They would not be able to make such an enactment. That's the first answer of the Gemara. It agrees with your question, but it says the case is it's our days that the whole issue of releasing of a loan is rabbinic.
But it's also sanctioned.
Say it again.
It doesn't. And Rosh is confirming or in our generation.
On a Torah level, again, this first answer of the Gemara, right? And only on rabbinic law, they have to release the loan. That's they can move around. They have more room to create certain things. That's the first answer of the Gemara in Gittin. But then the Gemara gives a different answer. Rava said that Hefker Bezdin Hefker, and he brings a pasuk. I mean, want to know the source. They bring a pasuk that the rabbis have a power. They have a pasuk that the rabbis have, even if you hold Shemitah today of the loan, the releasing of a loan is a biblical law that applies today. Nevertheless, it's still, there's no, you could address the issue. How could the rabbis make an enactment against the Torah? The Torah says that the loan is released. So something that's a monetary matter, they're not uprooting the Torah, because the rabbis have the power to take money from Reuven and give it to Shimon. That's a power that the rabbis have, and they bring a pasuk that illustrates this this point. And they bring a pasuk from the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, a certain pasuk about the rabbis, but the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, where it says that shows you that the rabbis had the power. Morning, Jake. The rabbis had the power to go ahead and take money from Reuven and give it to Shimon. So that answers your question, Jaime. And they saw the precedent over there, and obviously most probably it's based on, see, the pasuk that they bring is a pasuk post the Torah. It's a pasuk, but most probably it indicated some sort of halacha. Presume it's a halacha al Moshe Sinai. This is the power that was given to the rabbis to take.
What kind of rabbis are we talking about, Rabbi?
We're talking about the greatest rabbis of the generation. We're talking
No,
about,
I'm saying what kind of rabbis are allowed to do that?
right,
Any rabbi? Does it have to be a court rabbi?
Right, that's a great question. So in Shulchan, first of all, Jake, we want to wish Jake Mansour had a baby boy. We want to wish Mazel Tov Mabruk that Jake was here.
Mazel Tov.
Now, to address your question, Yosef, which Bezdin, we wish him Mazel Tov and his wife Mazel Tov, and they should have a lot of nachat and from the young man. In
you have the same birthday as me, Rabbi, and Brit Milah, it's in Purim.
Baruch Hashem, B'shah Tova. You should know, Yosef, that's a good question that you have to look up. We have to look at Choshen Mishpat to answer that question. Who has the power? Which courts? That's a good question. But we find, what we have found is the way the Gemara says, Anshe Knesset Hagdolah, they were the ones, the people who, Mordechai Tzaddik was part of that group of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. You know, by the beginning of the building of the second Beis HaMikdash, we found they did it. And now Hillel, which is many years later, he also used that thing. So it would seem from this that it would seem the rabbis, the leading rabbis of the generation, the accepted leaders of the generation have the power, but again, it would have to be looked at, research, Yosef, properly to see, do you have to have a Sanhedrin? There might be certain laws that you have to have certain type of court might have to be in play in order to make this Hefka Bez and Hefka. I don't believe that, that any rabbi could just do that. It would have to, most probably there are laws, Yosef, to address. Maybe I'll research a little bit. Which rabbis, which court, who has the power of creating this Hefka Bez Din Hefka? So that addresses the issue. So it's a biblical allowance power of the rabbis to take out money from Reuven and give to Shimon, and that's what they wanted to do over here in order to help both the rich, that they shouldn't violate the Torah, and the poor, that the poor people should have the loans. That was the behind this enactment. So now, Rabbi Yehuda says in the name of Shmuel, from the bottom of Gimel Amud Aleph, Amar Yehuda Shmuel, Hamal v'eschavero l'esher shonim, someone lends his friend a loan, a 10-year loan, he's of the opinion, Shviyis Mishamatarto, the Shemitah will take off the loan. And the Gemara explains his reasoning. We're turning the page, Gimel Amud Beis, 3b. The Gemara is bothered by the following question. The Torah says, when Shemitah comes, the Torah says you should not go ahead and lo yigos esre'eu. Don't make your claim from your friends. Once the Shemitah has come, you don't claim your money anymore. Let go. Let it go. Release it. Don't come to claim your money. Now, when you say don't come claim your money, that would seem to indicate that you think you have a claim, you want to claim your money, but I can't claim it because Shemitah has come. But that would make sense if the loan was already due by the time Shemitah came. So the Torah says, don't claim the money because Shemitah is here. Meaning to say, the inference is if Shemitah would not be here, you would want to claim your money. But something is stopping me. What's stopping me? The Shemitah is stopping me. I'll claim my money. But if the loan is not due yet, so the case of the Torah doesn't seem to be talking about that type of case. If the Torah says don't claim the money because Shemitah is here. If the loan is not due, you can't claim the money anyways, because there's no money due. I can't. If I give a loan, a 100-year loan, can I come claim the money in the 7th year? It's not due until 100 years from now. So what do you mean? Don't claim my money? I can't claim my money because it's not due. If you tell me don't claim my money because you would think I should claim my money, you tell me I can't do it. So that's the question on this rabbi. This rabbi needs to explain the pasuk. How does his opinion fit with the pasuk? So he explains, the Torah says, don't claim your money when the loan is due, which here will be after 10 years, because the Shemitah has already come in the 7th year. That's how he'll explain. The other rabbi will say, no. The Torah, the other opinion, which is the halacha, the case of the Torah says Shemitah releases the loan in when the loan is already due by the time Shemitah comes. You want to come to claim the money because it's already past due. So the Torah says, don't come and claim the money because Shemitah has come. No, he goes. But in the case where the loan is not due, the Torah is not telling us, the Torah is not instructing us, Shemitah has come and it's off. Don't collect the money. If the loan is not due, I'm not coming to collect the money anyways. So that's what the Gemara says. Even though at this point, during the Shemitah, you wouldn't refer to this as don't come to collect, because you can't collect anyways, it's not due until the 10th year. But eventually, after the 10th year, you're going to want to come. That's what the Torah is saying. Lo yigos esreu. Don't come to collect the money after the 10th year, because Shemitah already has happened. Shemitah has happened on the 7th year, and therefore the loan is off. That's this opinion in the Gemara. That's of Yehuda Amashmor, not the halacha. That's Yehuda Amashmor. That's his opinion. Shemitah will write about any loan, whether the loan was due before the Shemitah or whether the loan was due after Shemitah. Once, if I make a loan, meaning if I make a loan and I say 10 years and it's due after Shemitah, once the Shemitah has come, it's wiped out. Even a 10-year loan, if I'm a 10-year loan and one of the years is the Shemitah year, whatever the year is, it's wiped out. That's his opinion. We'll continue tomorrow, everybody, and a mazel tov to Mari on his grandson. Mari may have been a bris of his grandson. Mazel tov. Right. Well, exactly. But that's not the halacha. Have a great day, Yosef Tzaddik, and everybody, and
Chag Sameach.
thank everybody for being on. Yes, all the best.
Chag Sameach, Rabbi.
Yes, thank you too. Yaron, good to see you.
Yaron,
At
okay,
the moment, I'm
Yaron.
going to the palace. At the moment, looks like I'm going.
Rabbi, have a good day, everyone. Have a
Unless
good
they tell
day.
me they don't have a minyan, they're not gonna have a minyan. Thank you. Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
how are you?
How are you, Maurice? How you doing?
Great.
In
Guadalupe.
I was looking for somebody to put
Yes.
down the books. Where are you?
Guys, I don't see you.
Oh,
You don't see
Have
me?
a good day.
Akiva.
He's right here.
I keep it wearing a red shirt. You can see the red shirt?
No, you can see. Where are you? Where are you?
Kuala Lumpur.
Oh,
Akiva, I'm in Guadeloupe.
oh man, you on the island? Nice,
Yes.
nice. When are you coming back?
The 21.
Oh, okay. We missed you. You see, Rabbi is putting down the books.
Thank you.
You should have done that. You know, I was looking for you. All right. hope to see
Okay,
you soon.
thank you, Akiva. Rabbi, have a good day. Everyone have a good day.
All right, you have a blessed day. Hey, Joseph,
Hey, what's going on,
when are you
Akiva?
coming down to the city?
It's a good question.
You know, we
The
mix.
city, I
I
love to
missed
come to
you.
pray with you guys and have everything there, but it's hard when you're not in the city.
Yes.
It's not you can come and park outside and go pray.
Yeah, you're about 2 hours away from here, right?
2
2
hours. Yeah.
Is it 2 hours drive?
Yeah, it's 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
it depends if there's traffic or not, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day I'll get to see you soon.
Be'ezrat Hashem.
It's a shame. All right, we're gonna
Yeah.
pray. So,
All right. Take care. Bye.
all right, bye.